Welcome to our season 5 preview. You will notice that some things are a little bit different. Well, if you're listening to this, you may not notice, but we are now recording with video instead of just audio for the first time, which is
Super
super
crazy.
exciting. So now from here on, podcast recordings will be available on YouTube as well. So this is super exciting.
It's really weird, actually. It's like, because all the previous 4 seasons, like we've recorded, and like even on the back end, we didn't have video set up when we were recording. So we've never actually recorded a podcast where we're like looking at each other.
It's so much nicer. I like this. I wish we
I
had
like
switched
it.
it sooner
I know.
because
I
it
like
feels
it too.
more conversational
It
almost
does.
in a
It
sense.
feels more conversational. It feels more personal. And also, I feel like it's going to be easier to like respond to each other and bounce off of each other when we can like
Yeah,
see each other's bodily expressions and cues and things.
we love facial expressions.
We do. We were just talking about that before we started recording because I
We
was
were.
fixing
We
my
were.
hair and making some choice facial expressions.
They were very funny facial expressions. I wish we had recorded though, honestly.
I'm glad we didn't. So we can all move on and not traumatize our viewers.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, we have not recorded in a long time, and a lot has changed for both of us since we last recorded.
Yeah. Do you want to do a
So
quick life update?
yeah, let's do a really brief life update in 30 seconds or less for each of us or something.
Okay.
And maybe 60 seconds, actually. I'm sorry. That's going to be 30 seconds is not enough time.
Yeah, we can go. We'll make it super brief. Um, so, I mean, the biggest thing for me was that I got married in
Yeah.
July. So my surname has changed. If you've been to our website recently, you'll notice that like on our about the team page, my last name has changed. It's way cooler now. I don't know if it appears in the bottom of the screen here in
I
the
don't know
final
if it
recording.
will when, yeah, I don't know if the final recording, but it is right
I
now
guess
with
we'll
the,
find out. But my new surname is Windy Bank, which is like so epic.
it's very fun.
It's such a cool last name. It's a very rare surname as well, actually.
Oh,
There are less than 200 people I think in the world with that surname or it's like variants. So it's pretty yeah, so it's pretty cool.
maybe this is Tara because that's where I was with my maiden name. Like it was like one of those like really rare last names, and now I have a much more common last name.
Yeah, but like you cannot tell me that Windy Bank as a surname is not like straight out of a
It's
Jane Austen novel. It's like
very fun.
it's
Now we
very
both have last names that are straight out of a Jane Austen novel, practically, and
actually that's
this is
so
very
true. We could
this is
totally like have a period romance like novel series written with our two surnames. Totally.
absolutely 100%. I love it. I'm here for it.
I am too. Love it. So yeah, I've been like about a month and a half married at this point, and it's great. Highly recommend marriage. It's so much fun. And it's been a like it's been an adjustment, but like a very positive adjustment. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
moving now, I'm in a totally different apartment than I was before. Um, Living with a man, like as a roommate for the first time in my life. Not a roommate, like a husband, but you know.
Yeah. No,
um,
I know exactly what you mean.
yeah, yeah. And so that's changed. It's changed my commute to work as well. Like everything's really, it's been a lot of change in the past month, but it really has been like so positive and super easy as well. I was a little bit nervous that it was going to be an enormous, like almost insurmountable adjustment because I've heard
Mhm.
people say like some horror stories about what it's like to like when you're first married and you're like first learning your new routine and like adjusting to living with your spouse and stuff. So I was a little bit like, oh, don't really know what it's going to be like, but it actually has been so easy. It's been a simple adjustment. So
So
yeah,
yeah, it was very similar for me when I got married last year. Like I also received many horror stories, especially about sharing a bed. Like for some reason, I had
interesting.
so many people tell like married women be like, oh, enjoy these last days of having the bed to yourself. Ha ha ha. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what is this gonna be like? And then turns out I ended up starting to get some of the best sleep of my life.
Yeah,
So,
it's
like,
great.
oh, okay.
You know what's
Everyone's different. Everyone's different, you
what's
know.
surprised me so much about the past like month and a half is so many like people, strangers, people in restaurants or like people on the train, when they see me and Dan together, will be like, "Oh, how long have you guys been married?" And we'll say, "Oh, a month, month and a half, whatever." And like a shocking amount of people have been like, "Oh yeah, I can tell you guys are newlyweds because you still look happy." That like
Oh,
I
oh.
have been really surprised by like the number of people who have made basically that exact same comment to us. And I'm like, "Are you guys okay? It sounds like you have some things to work through."
Yeah, that's wild.
Your life update turn, Cecilia.
Yes. Well, I guess in the last episode we recorded for season 4, I announced that I was pregnant because I was very, very, very sick. I'm happy to say that I'm not really super sick anymore. It has been a very difficult pregnancy. Um, as of the time of recording this, I'm 23 weeks pregnant now. And I think the morning sickness really stopped for me about week 20. Well, I say stopped, and I should clarify, I still get nausea in the morning. It goes away a lot faster now, but like I feel pretty nauseous after I eat breakfast every single morning without fail. And it goes away within an hour, but that has not been fun. But I've been
Yeah.
very exhausted, which has also not been fun. So it's just been a rough pregnancy on the whole. All of those like pregnancy perks you hear about, like, yeah, I've gotten none of them, you know. It's just been rough all around. But definitely doing a lot better since we recorded last. So I'm very
Yeah,
grateful for that.
that's so true.
Um, so that's been good. That's been good. And then we also moved to Florida as well. So I'm no longer in Pennsylvania. We are down in Southwest Florida. We have a house instead of an apartment, still a rental. But it is really nice to have a house. And we
Yeah.
have a kitchen that I can do things in. And so we had a little galley kitchen before, and both me and my husband love cooking. So that was a little bit difficult with the galley kitchen. But having this, we have a really nice big open kitchen
The
now, and
space,
it is a
life-changing.
joy. It is an absolute joy to be cooking in that space and
Yeah.
not being on top of each other, you know. So that's been really, really nice. So yeah, those are kind of the big life updates there. I'm due in December and end of December, so we'll see what happens with all of that. But we're trying to get as much of this season recorded in the next couple months as possible because I mean, if this pregnancy has taught me anything, you just never know what's coming at you.
Mm,
So,
yeah, better be prepared than not. So,
exactly, exactly. With that being said, I'm very, very, very excited for season 5.
season 5 is definitely the one that I like been most excited about for sure out of all the
Yeah,
seasons we've done so far. It's going to be
I think
really
it's gonna
good.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be so good. We are not shying away from heavy hitting topics in this season,
Hmm.
which is going to be, I think, really cool to get to dive into certain topics in a
Yeah.
way that we haven't on this podcast yet. So that'll be really cool. Um, but Tara, do you want to go ahead and share what our theme is?
Yes. So, our season 5 theme is moral theology for musicians.
It is gonna be so good.
There's a
So
lot packed in there. Even just like the title of the season is like
yes.
could go like it's kind of open ended and that like could go in a million different directions because obviously moral theology is a huge topic, like
Mhm.
truly enormous. Um, but as Cecilia said, I think in previous seasons we have kind of avoided talking about some of the more maybe controversial or difficult things that like really affect our lives as musicians. But like that's the whole point of the Hildegard Collective, is to create a space to have these conversations and
Hmm.
to be able to support one another in some of the challenges that we face, and to help each other answer some really difficult questions that we come face to face with in this industry. And so we had a conversation at the end of season 4 about what comes next, as we always do when we wrap up a season. And we both were kind of in agreement that, okay, I think it's time to get some heavy hitters in there. And so
Yeah.
we planned this whole season around starting to address some of these quite big issues. So
I know the sound of moral theology might come across as dense, but we promise that this is not going to be a dense season in the way of, when we think of like dense being more inaccessible, our goal is for this to be very accessible
mhm,
season in terms of how we have these discussions,
yeah,
you know. So I think that would be really good because, like I said, like that title of moral theology can sound like almost scary. It's not
yeah.
scary though. Um,
I think it can
I
sound I think it can sound quite academic as well. And I
Yes,
think like
absolutely.
I think our goal really with this season, especially, and I think actually the video will really help with this, hopefully, is to be able to have a really conversational, digestible feel to what we're going to be addressing in terms of moral theology. Because really all it is like, how do we take the moral teachings of the church about things that are right and wrong and apply it to our lives as musicians? And
Hmm.
again, just that itself is like very broad. There are a million directions we could go with that. But there are definitely some really big, important topics that we have chosen to address in this first season, I guess, about these heavy hitting issues. Um, so addressing those things in a really kind of conversational, personable way is like
Hmm.
of utmost importance to us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you're sitting here listening and being like, well, what exactly is moral theology to begin with? Rest assured, our very first episode is going to actually dive into that and discuss what moral theology is, break it down in like really just, layman's terms, so to speak, and just have a really good conversation about how this almost theoretical sounding phrase is very practical in the life of a Catholic. So,
And a musician as well. Like,
oh yeah.
we're faced with many a moral decision on a day-to-day basis in our
Hmm.
personal lives and as our professional lives as well. So understanding how to approach those things, I think, is really foundational for diving into the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, as we've said, we're going to be diving into some heavy hitting conversations, but rest assured as well, like not all of these episodes are going to be heavy hitting back to back to back. When
Mm,
we were planning out this season and the order of the episodes, we actually made sure that the more heavy hitting episodes are spaced out and there's, some, I don't want to say lighter topics, but maybe less heavy hitting topics.
mm-hmm.
Um, or
Some of
like
the
our saint feature for
yeah.
the the season, which I'm really looking forward to. We're going to be talking about Saint Alphonsus Liguori and his life, which is going to be really fun. He's the only one of the Hildegard Collective's patron saints who we have not had a saint feature for yet.
Mm,
And we were actually going to do him for last season, and then we decided to push it forward to the fifth season when we started to have an idea of what the fifth season might be looking like. Because St. Alphonsus Liguori is the patron saint of moral theologians.
mm-hmm.
What better season to talk about him and his life and his witness than this season?
Totally.
So we're really looking forward to doing that episode.
Mm-hmm. Do you have an episode, Cecilia, that you're most looking forward to?
Honestly, it might be Alphonsus's, to be honest, because I really love Alphonsus Liguori.
He's such a good one.
Um, he's such a good one. And I think that there are aspects of things that he struggled with as a person that will be really, I think a lot of people are going to relate. He
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of struggles with perfectionism and scrupulosity, and a lot of us as musicians deal with things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of relatability in Alphonsus Liguori, even though he lived, a few centuries ago at this point.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make him any less relatable.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to talk about his life, the contributions he made to moral theology, his skill as a musician as well, which is not always talked about, but that will be really fun to discuss. And I'm just really looking forward to that episode.
Yeah. He's such a good one. I remember like in the early days of the collective on social media, we made a reel about our patron saints.
Mm-hmm.
And I dressed up as Alphonsus Liguori and I
That's
made a
right.
skull
Oh my gosh,
cap out of a sock that I had that I
that
felt
was so
like,
good.
because I think it's like got to be the most famous image of him or like one of the most famous images where he's like dressed in a lot of red and I think he has like a
Yep,
red skull cap. So I found like a burgundy like knee-high sock and I just like made a skull cap out of it and I was so proud of that.
that's
It was
amazing.
great.
So that reel was so fun to make.
It was.
Where we dressed up as our patron saints. That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
So, Tara, what are
Yes.
you most looking forward to in this season? What episode are
It's
you feeling the most?
honestly, so I'm gonna like I have a list of the episodes on my phone here. Um, but it's so hard for me to pick.
Yeah.
Like really so many of them. One that I'm particularly I don't like it feels wrong to say looking forward to, because it's definitely one of the like heavier topics in the season, but
Mhm.
is the episode about what to do when you have been sinned against. And
Ooh, yeah, that's gonna be probably our just most weighty episode, I think.
I think so. And I am especially interested in this one because it's very personal to me because this is something that I have experienced in the industry and I'm sure like I hope not many of our listeners have, but I expect that if they have not themselves experienced it, that like many people have at least heard stories of people they know who've experienced like just being taken advantage of by people in the industry and being maybe like coerced into things or threatened or whatever, like where people wield their power over us inappropriately in professional settings. And unfortunately, like it happens so often in the music industry. And I think I'm excited to kind of open up that conversation about how we deal with those things, how we address them, and also like share my own experience of that because I haven't really talked about it before to many people like at all. And so I like keep in my preparations for the season and for that episode keep going back to the words of Jesus when he says like that everything that is done in darkness will be brought to light. And
Mm,
like because I think I mean obviously we'll get into this more in that episode, but I think when something like that has happened to you, it's very easy to live in fear of the person who did that to you and I feel like that's been my experience for quite a few years now. And I'm like sick of it. I'm sick of like living in this darkness. Like I don't feel ashamed of anything, but I just feel like afraid of it almost. And
yeah.
I'm
Yeah. No,
excited
that makes sense.
to like have this conversation and share this story so that I can help my own healing journey and hopefully also open up that avenue for other people to know that they're not alone in whatever their experiences are.
Yeah,
So again,
absolutely.
it's going to be super hard for me to pick like a favorite episode, but definitely that's one that I'm really looking forward to for that reason.
Yeah. So on that note, season 5, we do have a launch date for it, and that will be on October 5th. So keep an eye out for that. Probably by the time this preview episode happens, it'll be about a month after that we will launch season 5 with the first episode on that what we talked about earlier with the whole like, what exactly is moral theology and all of that good stuff. So stay tuned for that. We cannot wait to be back and in your earbuds once again. So very
Woohoo!
much looking
And on your screens as well for the
forward.
first time.
Yes. We will be on YouTube, which will be so fun. This will be great. I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
It is.
And for the first time, we have a second launch date
We
to
do.
announce.
We do. We
And
do.
that is for a very long awaited project that Cecilia and I have
Mm-hmm.
been working on for literal years. So we're very
3 years
excited.
now.
Yeah.
3 whole years we've been working on this.
So we're super, super, super excited to announce that our online community platform is going to be launching on September 17th, the feast day of St. Hildegard, our
Oh
one and
yeah,
only. We love her.
our
And
girl.
so check out our website, thehildegardcollective.com, to sign up to receive an announcement when that platform goes live. And join us over there for many more of these conversations. We're going to have online webinars that are going to be happening quarterly over there. There's going to be a book club, tons
Oh
and
yeah.
tons of resources for both your spiritual growth and your growth as a musician. It's going to
Mhm.
be amazing. We've worked so, so, so hard building this platform and we're super proud of it. So definitely keep an eye out for that platform. It is going to be amazing. And we cannot wait to virtually meet many of you, hopefully, over on that platform and continue growing and learning together, becoming the best people we can be and the best musicians that we can be as well.
Oh yeah. It'll be great. Absolutely great.
Yep.
So, like we said, this has been a long time coming. Literally, we've been working on and planning this and discerning this for 3 years now. And it's
Filing
just so good
filing
to,
a lot of paperwork for this. A lot of paperwork.
yes, we love getting legal statuses in order.
Yay.
Um, but it's really awesome to finally see this coming to fruition at long last.
Hmm.
And we're just really excited to share it with you guys. And maybe, between now and the launch of the podcast, maybe we will throw out a bonus episode in there talking about the platform and going into it in more detail and what some of these things are going to look like and what you get out of a membership to it. So that might
Stay
be fun.
tuned, everybody.
That might be fun. Just an idea that actually just pops into my head right now. So I don't know if we want to run with that, Tara, but
I
might
think,
be fun.
yeah,
I think it'd be fun.
I think
Let's
it'd
do
be so
it.
fun.
Incredible. Yeah, so expect a bonus episode between now and October 5th.
So, lots of exciting things coming up, as you
Very
can
much
see.
so.
And we're so excited to go on this journey with you. So,
Yes.
for the first time, signing off audio wise and visually.
Uh-huh.
Audioly is not a word, orally. Signing off orally and visually. And
Yes.
we'll see you again soon.
Indeed, indeed. God bless.
God bless.